Information wanted. 2 words in bold type. 2 words large enough to stop a reader before they knew whose grief they were entering. On a newspaper page crowded with other needs and other notices, this headline opens like a hand held out into the world. It does not shout. It simply refuses to be missed. Not melodramatic hand acting. This was not gossip, not rumor, not a legal announcement written at a distance. It was a mother placing hope into print. Before we know the whole path behind it, we can already feel the shape of the desperation. A public notice because private searching had failed. A newspaper column because there was no easier road left. Ink becomes plea.
Lydia, William, Alan, Parker. The names arrive one by one, and the ad changes shape in front of us. It is no longer a column about information. It is a record of attachment. A mother is telling strangers exactly who is missing, because names are what slavery tried to scatter first. She prints them so they cannot be swallowed by distance, sale, or time.
She was Elizabeth Williams, sometimes called Betsy. When this notice appeared in 1866, she was living in Marysville, California. That distance matters. Before the ad explains the past, it already tells us something about the present. She had carried this search across a continent. Even now, in the clipped language of newspaper type, her voice is legible. Not loud, not theatrical, simply unwilling to let go. The first full reading of the ad is not mystery, it is endurance.
From California, Elizabeth wrote backward through time. The ad reaches away from the place where she lives and toward the place where her family had once been together. Even its geography carries grief. It begins in one state, but the memory it follows does not stay there. The page becomes a map, and every line is an attempt to retrace a family broken apart. It points to a place near Woodbury, in Franklin County, Tennessee, where Elizabeth and her children had once been held together under slavery. The notice does something almost unbearable in its precision. It names people, it names places, it refuses blur. That matters because slavery depended on blur. Elizabeth writes against that erasure with the tools she has left: memory, names, and print.
Then the line breaks. Elizabeth tells readers she was sold away, not metaphorically, not gradually, sold. The ad does not stage the scene for us, and we should not stage it either. The force is in the sentence itself, a mother and her children separated by transaction. In one plain statement, the distance between family love and the marketplace becomes impossible to ignore.
Years later, the paper trail shifts again, and Elizabeth's path leads onward to Arkansas. The notice traces movement the way a scar traces injury, briefly, exactly, without performance. Tennessee, then Sale, then Arkansas, then California. Each place name marks another distance between a mother and the children she was still trying to find. The ad gives us route marks, and even those are enough to feel the scale of what was taken. By the time Elizabeth placed this notice, decades had passed. That may be the most devastating fact in the whole column. Not only loss, but duration. She was searching not after a season of absence, but after years large enough to swallow childhood, memory, and certainty. Still, she searched.
The ad exists because hope had survived longer than the system that tried to destroy her family.
And Elizabeth was not alone. After emancipation, thousands of formerly enslaved people placed notices like this one, searching for parents, children, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. Newspapers became a road where ordinary roads had failed. One ad is intimate. Thousands of ads reveal the size of the wound.
Notices traveled through black newspapers, churches, communities, and chance human attention. They asked strangers to become witnesses, not to solve a puzzle for entertainment, but to carry news of the living to the lost. A reader in one town might recognize a name. A pastor might read a notice aloud. A neighbor might remember where someone had been taken. Print became a search network because the nation had left families broken across its map.
Today, projects like Last Seen, Finding Family After Slavery, gather these notices so they cannot disappear again. Historians and researchers preserve the words, the names, the places, the relationships, and the fragile clues hidden inside brief lines of newsprint. That work matters not because it improves the story, but because it proves the story was real. The archive does not manufacture closure. It keeps the record open. It lets descendants, students, readers, and families encounter these voices as evidence of love under impossible conditions. In that sense, the archive is not replacing Elizabeth's search. It is listening to it, late but carefully, and refusing to let it be buried a second time. But the ending we most want is often the ending history cannot provide. In many cases, we do not know whether the search succeeded. Documented reunions were rare. That uncertainty is not a flaw in the record. It is part of the wound the record is trying to show us. And still, the ad gives us something slavery was built to deny: relation. Elizabeth names her children in public print. She states who they were to her. She does not allow the record to reduce them to anonymous loss. Even without an ending, the notice preserves a family structure the system tried to sever. Mother, children, names, places, connection asserted in ink.
This is why the clipping matters, even without closure. It is evidence, yes, but it is also memorial. A mother saying to the world, these children existed, they belonged to one another, and I am still calling for them. The search itself is love made visible, not love rewarded, not love resolved. Love carried forward in the only public form available to her. In that narrow column, Elizabeth refuses the final violence of erasure.
So the final witness is not a reunion photograph. It is this column of newsprint, still carrying names across time. Lydia, William, Allen, Parker. Elizabeth Williams could not force the world to return her family, but she refused to let them vanish unrecorded. The page endured. The names endured. And because the names endured, the love that placed them there endures too.
This is PaperWitness, where real stories are drawn, remembered, and brought to life.
Paper Witness.